Hi, it's me, MC of Healthy by George. And today I want to talk about shoulder pain. I am now 9 months past my hip replacement and I'm doing fantastic. And now I want to do is work on my joints, my shoulders and my knees, so that I can really optimize them and make them as functional as possible as I get older. Think about subscribing. I would love to see you here each week so we can share and encourage each other so that we can be as functional as we desire well into our 80s and 90s. So, why is shoulder pain something I'm thinking about? I know that a lot of women and some men, but more women, suffer from what's called a frozen shoulder. This is where you really have trouble lifting your shoulder. This is my left shoulder, which is a troublesome one, where I had frozen shoulder and it leads to stiffness. Often it's because of hormonal shifts, and that's what happened with me. I was having a lot of hormonals up and downs, and sure enough, I got frozen shoulder. So I went into my rehab doctor and they basically gave me helpful injections. Now I'm much better. I wasn't able to lift my shoulder higher than that, but now I'm being able to lift it up here and it's not that painful. But I have to tell you, now that my hips are doing great, my frozen shoulder is more of a concern. So why does this happen? A lot of reasons is as we have hormonal changes, there's just this less ability for us to have the flexibility in our joints with the cartilage or the lack of use. We're not lifting above our heads very often unless we're being intentional and doing some kind of exercise that causes us to stretch or rotate our shoulders. So, I think we have to start thinking more intentionally about our joints, especially our shoulders. About 50% of individuals as we get older will have some type of pain in our joints. And we really have to be intentional about doing things to help ourselves. One, there's the rotator cuff tendonitis or impingement. And this is where there's an inflammation or pinching of the tendons. And that's something where, because there's limited joint space, we have to do things that give our shoulders space and some type of movement. There's also rotator cuff tears that can happen. That happens in about 50% of people in their 70s and 80s. And then osteoarthritis, this is something that happens as well, where there's wear and tear of the areas around our joints causing stiffness and grinding sensations, and there's radiating pain. I think we have to do things to help ourselves to have better control over what's happening to us because almost half of people over the age of 65 will have some type of joint problem. Hips and knees and backs and necks and hands. And we have to be key because this is happening to women because our estrogen has dropped. And that can cause us to have more inflammation and bone density can decrease. And so that can include this osteoarthritis. That's at the very top cause of why about 27 million Americans have some type of osteoarthritis, where we're stiff, there's swelling, there's all kinds of bone spurs that happen because there's wear and tear. And a lot of this has a couple of things. It's genetics, and then for me, I had excess weight. And things have gotten a lot better with my knees now that I've lost about 55 pounds, but I still want to work on my shoulders. And there's rheumatoid arthritis, which is an autoimmune condition that causes inflammation, and it can often affect our joints. And osteopenia or osteoporosis, where our bones are thinning a lot because we've lost some kind of hormones. And of course, this worsens our joint pains. And there can be micro injuries that were not so much a problem when we had our hormonal repair happening, but in menopause, it's worrisome. There's also tendonitis or bursitis, and this is some inflammation due to either poor mechanism or some overuse that can lead to this aching pains of our elbows and our hips and our knees and our shoulders. So it's key that we start to do something now, and that's what I've started to do with my body, is to do some simple exercises in the morning where I am rotating my shoulders. I am stretching mindfully. I'm doing these shoulder circles with little light weights, both on my side and letting them dangle down in front of me. I'm doing simple band exercises where you take the band and you are stretching it, or you're taking it and moving it from over your head to in front of you and behind you. And I'm doing some standing sit ups so that I can strengthen my shoulder and get more sense of movement and muscle increasing. So we have to do everything we can to help ourselves with our joints. So those are my shoulders. My hip joints, boy, out now that I've had 9 months of my last from my left hip repair, and now I am almost 7 years post my right hip repair, which I had in 2017. I feel like I'm doing marvelously with my hips. Now I'm focusing on my shoulders, knees, and ankles. I'm being very intentional in the morning, doing a conscious stretch of my ankles and circles and alphabet, drawing the alphabet with your toes, and then also using the bands to strengthen my ankles and stretch my foot. The foundation of your walking is your foot and buttocks muscles. Your gluteus maximus is one of the most important muscles for walking and strength. So I'm working on that. I'm working on developing stronger calves by standing on my toes. I'm working on developing stronger thigh muscles by doing these kind of Pilates type exercises that help you strengthen your calves, sit to stand, doing deadlifts with some light weights. All of these things are things I have made a very conscious decision to do during the month of February. And I'm keeping the bar very low. I have told myself that I'm going to only do 5 minutes, the minimum amount of 5 minutes in the morning or the afternoon, so that I can make this a commitment that I am going to do no matter what during the day, and I'm going to make it happen. And then I give myself a little reward, which is silly, but I give myself a sticker. And truthfully, when I look at my calendar and I see all the things that I was able to commit to, committing to my morning routine, committing to my stretching exercise, committing to my every other day weights, committing to my every other day cardio, I'm keeping the bar very low. I love it in the Atomic Habits how he talks about flossing the one tooth. If you were to take the equivalent of flossing the one tooth and now putting it to an exercise routine, I am 5 minuting my exercise routine because I need to keep it simple. I am one of those people that movement has never been a real easy thing for me to commit to. I don't know about you. I like it. If someone could be like the I Dream of Jeannie and blink me to the gym, especially during this cold. It is so cold here in New York. It is 14 degrees below if we go outside. The wind is brutal, so there is no going outside. I've had to walk in the hall or go downstairs because it's just too cold. We tried going out this morning and taking a little walk. I think we went 3/4 of a mile just sheerly by running because it's so cold. So, you have to be imaginative to keep yourself on track. And I love it that if I do a little more than 5 minutes, great. If I don't, then I've got my 5 minutes and I put it in my calendar and I've done it and I love it. You have to figure out for yourself your own stretching routine, your own exercise routine, your own movement. You want to make it so that you can stay committed to it. I know that if I can get something into my routine that I've bonded with another activity that I always do, I will be able to commit to it. It's that habit stacking they talk about in Atomic Habits. If you were to brush your teeth And every time you brushed your teeth, you then did 5 minutes of stretching. And that's what I'm doing. I always brush my teeth so I can easily just go right into 5 minutes of stretching. Or I always take a shower so I can right before do 5 minutes of cardio. You have to figure out what you can combine it with so that you will commit to this. We have to do something every single day to provide ourselves a foundation for getting stronger as we get older. If we don't, we can't even maintain the muscle mass that we do have because our hormones, our nutrition are not working for us. They're working against us. We have to be intentional to make so that I can keep the muscles, I can keep the flexibility well into my 80s and 90s. So, how are you joining in to help yourself with your process of making your body the best version it could be? For me, it's been a long journey. For a long time, because of my own issues around eating and blame and shame and feeling so uncomfortable in my body, I just ignored it, which was not a good choice. And now I'm being less critical, less judgmental, more willing. And I encourage you, no matter where you are in your journey, you can always choose to do something very small and start, and it will take you to another place of being in your body. We have to be compassionate. We have to be kind. And that's my goal always, to come with compassion and kindness for myself and then for others. So be well, my friends. Think about subscribing. I would love to see you here each week. And remember, we have this one precious life. Let's live it intentionally. I'll see you again. Bye bye now. So, thank you so much for joining me at Healthy by George. I hope you found the information inspiring and that it encourages you on your wellness journey. Because remember, your body, your well being are a most precious gift, and every tiny action taken daily can make a huge difference. I hope the information here is educational purposes and is not meant to replace your medical care. See your doctor and talk about what works for you. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me continuing creating content that inspires and empowers you to live your best life. Goodbye for now, and join me again at the next Healthy by George.